I have the privilege of knowing these incredible women and seeing them overcome extremely difficult situations that most of us are clueless, about what it feels like to go through what they've been through. But they overcome. They're not just survivors, they become thrivers.
Welcome back, everybody. Rich Rubicker. I'm here today with Annie from Nightlight Designs. Just had a phenomenal conversation about the work that she's doing here in Bangkok, the organization she's built over the last 13 years to help women come off the street, find empowerment, build boundaries, and hopefully take the next leap in life. Can you do me a little favor and give me a little of your background, your personal history?
Started working with women in prostitution about 18 years ago and started Nightlight 13 years ago. Nightlight is an international organization compelled by love to reach out to, rescue, and restore all those who are negatively impacted by sex trafficking and commercial sexual exploitation. Since 2005, we've had around 175 Thai women who have been employed at Nightlight. And since that time, we've had around 150 international women who were brought out of situations of sex trafficking and were repatriated back to their country.
And are you, as part of your organization here, are you doing outreach on a daily or on a frequent basis? Is that part of what you're trying to do?
Frequent, yes.
Okay.
We have an outreach center in the red light area.
Okay.
So that place is available for women to come in to seek help. We have a beauty salon that we run every Wednesday and Friday, twice a week, so women from the streets can come in. And it's a place, you know, it's free services, hair and nails and makeup, but it's really a place for them to feel safe and to connect. And so that's one of the outreach programs that we do. We have monthly or every other month an outreach party where we invite women in just for fun activities. Then we have teams that go out to the streets and to the bars on a regular basis as well.
And you're basically here to help them when they're ready for the help?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, no, it's both. We're ready. We're here for them to build relationships with them. So many women aren't ready for help for years. Okay. But they'll hold on to the hope. They know there's an exit when they are ready.
So when they come to you and they say, I'm ready, what is it that you're offering to them to bring them off the street to execute on that hope?
We offer them a job.
Okay.
And for them, they need that economic stability. And even though they might be able to make a lot of money in prostitution, it's not sustainable. Okay. And that's one of the main things I try to tell them, because they tend to think, I need money now, my family needs money now, my parents need, they want this now. I'm thinking, yes, but this isn't sustainable. Right. You can make a lot of money in prostitution, but the truth is, 5 years from now, your family will still be asking for money from you. Right. So when you decide you can't stand prostitution anymore and you want to quit, your whole family, everything that they've built is going to come crashing down. Okay. So it's not sustainable long term. But if you come out and you get a job with us, you might make less money, or you will make less money. Yeah. But it's a real living wage, and it's something that is sustainable. If you give one of these women a job, does that really help them? I mean, especially even if it's just, pound for pound, it's the same salary each month. Like, are you really fixing them as a person? Is a job the answer? A job in and of itself, by itself, is not the answer. And I've seen people just want to take women out of prostitution and just give them a job. But within a few months, they're gone. Maybe they're back in prostitution, or they move on, they can't find their place, they just can't seem to settle. And it's because these women who end up in prostitution, the majority, like 90% of women who end up in prostitution, come from backgrounds of abuse and neglect. And so it's like they have no foundation under their feet. They don't have the education. They have the family problems, the pressures, the fears, the feeling of insecurity, inadequacy, a lack of control over their own lives, the lack of choice for their own lives. And so without that foundation, if you just give them a job, you're building a house on sand, on quicksand.
Right.
You know, and over time, it just erodes and it's undermined, and it ends up collapsing, and it's not sustainable for them. It's not the answer. So I really feel like we have to help to rebuild a foundation under these women, under their feet. And that's like the restorative part of our work. So that they can, then when you give them a job, it's on a foundation that is sustainable, and if they have a strong foundation, they can then get a job anywhere and they can succeed in life.
Right.
But without that foundation, they won't. Yeah.
And so they come in, I mean, we're standing here in front of a lot of the products that you're obviously selling here. Do they come in and immediately they work on one of these product lines? Are they trained to do various tasks or various skills? Like how are you actually helping them on a professional basis?
Most of them will start with the jewelry.
Okay.
It's you know, to start with, it's a fairly simple task, and so they'll start there, and then as we begin to know them and to see what their skills are, what natural abilities they have, then we'll move them to other areas.
How did you get into this to begin with? What drove you to feel like this was an issue that you were passionate about and could do something?
Growing up in Africa, I saw a lot of injustice, a lot of things happening, and you know, you look back and you see how you began to be shaped by what you saw. So I always had this fight in me for justice. And even though I was a very shy child, if I saw injustice, I saw, you know, a time where somebody was beating up a woman in Africa or something, I would forget that I was shy, and I would speak out on her behalf. And it just, you know, looking back, I can just see that there was this fight in me for justice.
Okay.
And so when I came to Thailand, I didn't actually know what I would be doing, but this issue was in my heart because I had lived in Thailand before. And I was actually staying in the guest house, and there was a brochure on the bulletin board for an organization that worked with women in prostitution.
Okay.
And I just kind of stood there and just kind of, wow, that's the dream job. I started going to the bars and meeting with the women and getting to know their stories and knowing who they really are. I just fell in love with it. I just like the passion to do something, and ideas would just come.
What's your process from taking all these ideas and then actually executing on it? Do you have a process for that, or are you constantly in trial and error? What's your way?
It's both. I mean, I'm kind of more of a spontaneous person, but that's why I have a right-hand person, a Thai manager, you know, she's the director of the foundation, but we both wear a lot of hats. Okay. And so she's the manager, she gets things done. So, you know, I spurt out the ideas and then she makes them happen.
How important is your right-hand person?
Oh, I couldn't do without her.
Okay. What is it that your number two person does for you?
She's the day-to-day overseeing everything. I mean, we have around 30 staff.
Okay.
So overseeing the staff, accounts, being on site, dealing with problems. Yeah.
And then how much do you overlap? Like on a skill set, but then also on a day-to-day job?
We work really closely together.
Okay.
Yeah, we working together, somebody to bounce ideas off of, and it's a good balance also of doing that, you know.
But a lot of people struggle to find that number two.
Yeah.
So how long has she been with you?
She's been with me for 13 years.
Oh, wow.
And I've been working with her for 20 years.
Wow. Okay, so like this is someone you could just not replace.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so if you were to think about maybe 3 or 4 of the qualities that she has that you think you just have to have it at number 2 to get your job as number 1 done, what are some of the things that she does for you that allow you to do the best work that you can do? You
know, I've been here long enough that people say I'm Thai, just joking.
Yeah.
But the truth is, I'll never be.
Right.
There's just aspects of the culture that I still am learning and will never quite get. So she's able to understand that with the staff, the Thais. She also has really strong managerial skills. She loves to lead and manage and organize and do things like that. And so those are things that are irreplaceable.
So talk about keep going. What keeps you going? Like what motivates or inspires you when you're waking up in the morning?
My faith. My faith really keeps me going. My belief that that things can work out for good. That the power of love is more powerful than any of the evil that I face.
Okay.
That persevering, things. I don't know that anything is really impossible. You can, if you keep working towards those things and you have faith and you try, you can overcome a lot of obstacles. So actually, like our organization, one of my staff, my right hand, she was joking with me yesterday because we have a case that's really, really difficult. Of a mother, in the detention center from Africa who her baby is outside being cared for by somebody else, and she gave birth and used a friend's passport. So that person's name is on the birth certificate. But then she used another passport or ID when she was arrested. And neither of those is actually her identity. So we have to prove that this child is hers through DNA testing. But then we also are going to have to try to convince the hospital to put the correct information on the birth certificate, knowing that what she actually did was breaking the law by using somebody else's ID. So it's a mess. And so my staff, she just said, Annie, God doesn't give you hard things. He only gives you, no, God doesn't give you the easy problems. He only gives you the hard ones. And it's kind of like true that at Nightlight, we get the hard things. My style is you find a need, you create a program that fits that need. From there, you discover another need. So you create another program that fits that need. So looking to find the people that are falling between the cracks of structures of organizations, or this organization will say, oh, we can't do that one, we only do this type of case. We've never done that before. This organization says, oh, we can't do it because we do this and we haven't done this part before. And so we say, okay, we'll take her. We haven't done it either, but we're going to find a way. We'll find a solution because somebody has to help her. She's going to fall between the cracks of programs otherwise, and she'll just get lost. So I really, really believe, and my experience has shown me, that when you try, you can get things done. And I am motivated by love, compelled by love, by my faith. I have the privilege of knowing these incredible women and seeing them overcome extremely difficult situations that most of us are clueless.
Right.
Are clueless about what it feels like to go through what they've been through. But they overcome. They're not just survivors, they become thrivers. And having the privilege of seeing them walk through that and knowing them motivates me to keep doing it.
What's a story of a woman that you have that it's the transformational story that gives you so much pride and it makes you realize this is the work that you were meant to do?
A lot of them. There's one woman that I actually unknowingly met years ago when I was working in another ministry, and she saw me come into the bars when I was doing visits there. But I didn't actually meet her or have a conversation, but she saw me and noticed me coming in. Years later, she started working in this area of town. And we went to the bar that night on outreach and went and sat in the bar, and the mama san of that bar came to us and slipped us a note and said, there's a woman in this bar, she's 5 months pregnant, and she can't continue to work here anymore. She has no place to live, she's been staying with the mama san, she lost her documents, she'd lost contact with her family for 6 years because of the shame of being in prostitution and not sending money home. And so the mama san, the bar manager, said, can you take this woman? Can you help her? And we said, yes, of course. So that mama-san actually brought her to Nightlight.
Wow.
And she began to work for us. And that was in September of 10 years ago. In December, she had a baby girl. And that baby girl then was here at Nightlight. We had 80 women employed at the time. So she had, 80 mothers that were loving her. But as she began to crawl and, needing to move a lot, we realized that we needed to have some childcare for her. So we began to hire staff. As we hired staff, that developed the childcare program because that allowed other women to bring their children so that they could be cared for while they're on the job. That woman was making jewelry at the time, and then she's also done screen printing. She came to faith and became one of our primary leaders in the organization, not yet being staff, but leading. in our morning gathering times. And recently, she has just left our organization because she has decided that it's time for her to grow and to go work for another ministry and caring for other women and children. And so it's a huge step forward for her. She was working in our apparels and doing sewing, and now she comes in every once in a while to teach the women who are here on some of the sewing that she's done.
Great.
Her daughter is doing really well. She's 10 years old. She lives with her mother. And when I see the difference of this daughter compared to other children that are left in the rural areas and come down for school breaks, there's such a difference in the level of confidence and belief in her future, in her commitment to school and to her own development, and from a 10-year-old to see the difference, because she gets to live with her mom. Her mom is raising her, but her mom now is a woman who is a leader, who is confident in her life, in her abilities, and ability to give back to her community as well.
That's amazing. Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
That was really great.